Welcome, dear listener, to Bedtime Myths and Mysteries, where the ancient whispers of the earth rise to meet us, and where the veil between the natural and the supernatural grows thin. Tonight, we journey north, across storm-tossed seas, and into a land forged by fire and ice. Iceland. This is a place where the ground itself breathes, where mountains smolder and glaciers sleep like gods beneath the sky. Here, the elements are alive. The people of Iceland have long spoken of spirits dwelling within the rocks, the rivers, the winds, and the flames. Some call them the landvættir, the landwights, guardians of the island. Others know them as huldufolk, the hidden folk, who walk unseen beside us, and beyond them lie even older presences, giants of frost and flame, spectral horses of the sea, and winds that speak with voices older than humankind. Tonight, we seek the elemental spirits of Iceland, beings of fire, water, air, and earth, whose legends ripple through centuries. To explore them is to explore not only the myths of a nation, but the living soul of a landscape unlike any other on Earth. To understand Iceland's spirits, we must begin with the land itself. Born from the clash of tectonic plates, Iceland is a land in constant creation. Volcanoes erupt with molten fury, splitting the ground and remaking the map. Glaciers carve valleys in silence, their ancient ice grinding stone into dust. Hot springs bubble with sulphurous breath, while geysers leap skyward, scalding and alive. To live here is to witness creation and destruction as daily companions. For centuries, the Icelanders explained this not through science, but through spirit. Every river was a path where water spirits ran. Every lava field was the scar of a fire giant's stride. Every mountain, every stone, every shifting wind carried presence. The people lived in negotiation with their land, respectful of powers that dwarfed them. In the sagas, this belief emerges subtly. Kings feared to land their ships on Iceland without first honoring its spirits. Even today, road builders are known to reroute highways around boulders said to house elves. The message is clear. Iceland is not empty. It is inhabited, not only by humans, but by elemental beings who claim it as their own. First, we turn to fire, the beating heart of Iceland. Beneath its soil lies a furnace, and when that furnace stirs, the island trembles. Volcanoes like Hekla and Katla are not merely mountains, they are gates. Hekla, in medieval legend, was called the very mouth of hell. Pilgrims in Europe whispered that the damned were seen flying into its smoke, screaming as they vanished into flame. Icelanders themselves told quieter tales. They spoke of fire spirits dwelling within, guardians and destroyers, who rose in fury when disrespected. Katla, named for a witch in local legend, carries its own story. The tale tells of Katla the sorceress, who guarded a magical pair of trousers that gave endless strength. When a man stole them, she drowned him in a vat, then fled to the mountains. There, she cast herself into a volcanic fissure, and the volcano that bears her name erupts still with her wrath. Locals claim her spirit rises in fire and flood, reminding all that theft and treachery awaken more than earthly vengeance. The fire spirits are not merely destructive, they are transformative. Farmers once laid offerings near lava fields, asking that the molten rivers bless their soil with fertility. For though fire burns, it also creates, leaving behind the richest earth. In this way, the spirits of flame were both feared and revered, their anger destructive, their aftermath life-giving. If fire is the heart of Iceland, ice is its memory. Glaciers stretch across the land like sleeping titans, vast and immovable. To the old storytellers, these were not mere rivers of frozen water, but living presences with wills of their own. In Norse myth, creation itself began from the clash of fire and ice. From the frozen wastes of Niflheim and the fiery realm of Muspel came the giant Ymir, father of all Jötnar. Iceland, born of fire and ice, carries that origin in its bones. The glaciers were said to hold spirits of cold and silence. Travelers told of strange figures glimpsed in the white, towering frost beings who moved like shadows across the snowfields. Shepherds spoke of sudden storms conjured by offended ice spirits, blizzards that swallowed whole flocks. Some even claimed the ice wept at night, its cracks and groans the voices of imprisoned souls. Among these legends lies the story of the draugr of the glaciers, revenants who froze in snowdrifts and returned to haunt the living. These icy dead were said to appear on stormy nights, their breath a cutting wind, their eyes as pale as glaciers. To meet one was to be dragged into the snow, never to return. But the ice was not only deadly. In summer, its meltwater nourished the land, feeding rivers and lakes. Many Icelanders saw glaciers as stern protectors, harsh but necessary, reminding humans to live humbly within their means. If ice is memory, water is motion. Iceland is braided with rivers, waterfalls, and coastal storms, each alive with spirit. Among the most famous of these is the nokkur, the water horse. In many northern lands, the nokkur is known, a shape-shifting being who lures humans to ride upon its back, only to drag them into the depths. Icelandic farmers warned children never to approach strange horses grazing near lakes. They might be nokkur, waiting to pull them into the black waters. In the sea, too, spirits ruled. The coast was both lifeline and grave. Fishermen told of the halfmen, seamen with scales and long hair, who swam alongside boats. Some were omens of fortune, guiding ships safely to harbor. Others were omens of doom, warning that storms would rise. And then there was the great Lyngbakka, a sea monster said to resemble a moss-covered island. Sailors who mistook it for land would anchor upon its back, only for the beast to dive, drowning all aboard. The Lyngbakka was not merely a monster, it was a reminder that even the most stable surface might conceal danger. Water spirits were mercurial. They gave fish to the nets, fresh water to the homes, but they also took lives in sudden floods and shipwrecks. As with fire and ice, the lesson was respect. Water must be approached as a living power, never as a servant. The winds of Iceland are famous, sharp, howling, relentless. To the old folk, these winds carried voices. The storm spirits were said to ride with the gales, their laughter the whistling of the air. Some were believed to be elves or huldufolk, traveling invisibly. Others were thought to be the souls of the restless dead, blown ceaselessly across the world. Travelers told of whirlwinds that circled suddenly, dust and leaves dancing in their spiral. Such whirlwinds were said to be elf processions. To step into them was to risk being taken into the hidden world. Many would bow or remove their hats when such winds passed, in respect for the unseen. Even the ravens and seabirds of Iceland were bound to air spirits. Odin's ravens, Hugin and Munin, were said to fly across the land, gathering thought and memory. In Iceland, to see ravens circling was often an omen, their wings carrying messages from gods or spirits. Air was the messenger between elements, carrying the heat of fire, the chill of ice, the spray of water. It was the breath of the landvættir, reminding humans that even the invisible has weight and presence. Beyond the elements themselves dwell the huldufolk, the hidden people. These are perhaps Iceland's most famous spirits, beings who live in rocks, hills, and lava fields, unseen yet near. Stories abound of farmers who built too close to elf stones, only to suffer sickness until they moved their homes. Road workers rerouted around boulders when machines mysteriously broke down. Travelers who left offerings of bread and milk at certain stones found their journeys eased. The huldufolk are not evil, they are neighbors. To live well beside them is to respect their dwellings, to give them their due, and to remember that humanity is not alone. Even today, surveys in Iceland show that many people will not outright deny their existence. To deny is to risk offense. Better to live as if the hidden folk are real, because in some sense, they are. At the heart of Icelandic identity lies the legend of the landvættir, the four great guardian spirits of the island. This tale comes from the medieval saga Heimskringla. When King Harald Bluetooth of Denmark sought to invade Iceland, he sent a sorcerer ahead in spirit form to scout its defenses. The sorcerer flew across the sea and tried to land on the island, but was blocked at every shore by mighty spirits. In the east rose a great dragon, its wings darkening the sky. In the north loomed a giant eagle, talons like spears. In the west surged a bull, vast and snorting with fury. And in the south, a mighty mountain giant stood, holding the land against invaders. Terrified, the sorcerer fled back to Denmark, reporting that Iceland was guarded by powers too strong to defeat. And so, the land remained free. These four spirits, dragon, eagle, bull, and giant, are honored still today. They appear on Iceland's coat of arms, protecting the nation as they did in legend. For the Icelanders, they are not only myths, but emblems of identity. Reminders that the island is watched over by beings of the elements, guardians of fire, air, earth, and strength. In the end, the elemental spirits of Iceland are not separate from the land. They are the land. Fire, ice, water, air. Each is alive here in ways few other countries witness so directly. To walk in Iceland is to walk in a place where myth still breathes. Some call it a thin place, a location where the veil between worlds wears thinner than elsewhere. In Iceland, the earth itself is young, raw, and shifting. Perhaps it is no wonder the spirits are close, for creation is still unfolding, and the boundary between natural and supernatural is blurred. The people of Iceland, modern though they are, carry this heritage. They honor the land with respect, reroute roads for elf stones, leave offerings at sacred places, and tell stories by winter firelight. Whether one believes in the spirits literally or metaphorically, the truth remains. Iceland's identity is inseparable from its myths. And so, dear listener, we leave the wind-swept shores of Iceland, where the fire still burns beneath the earth, where the glaciers still whisper in their sleep, and where the hidden folk still linger in the shadows of stones. The elemental spirits of Iceland remind us that the world is never as empty as it seems. The land itself may breathe, dream, and remember. And if we walk gently, with respect, perhaps we may hear its voice. Thank you for joining us tonight on Bedtime Myths and Mysteries. If you enjoyed this journey into the spirits of Iceland, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss another tale of myth, legend, and the supernatural. Until next time, sleep well.